Hey guys, this is Stens, also known as Alpha 5, here with the Rangers Dojo, and I've got for you a deck profile. This is a deck of my own creation. It is pretty fun. At first it seems like kind of a gimmick deck, but you'd be surprised how well the synergies work. We just had, when I say just, it's probably over a month ago now, we had a small tournament. It was our first Rangers Dojo tournament, and this is the deck that I won first place with. This is a Fire Nature Thunderaxe aggro, so let's get right into it. First, get 3 Blaze Belchers. Always first edition. Always. Simple, aggressive, 1-drop. If you're on the play, it's incredible. If you're on the draw, sometimes your opponent doesn't have a 2-drop blocker to just instantly kill it and make you feel bad. But early aggression is always good, plus you can 1-drop into Evo Bait later on. So, valuable there. 2. Weaponized Cat. 3 Weaponized Cat in the 2-drop slot. Sorry. 2 mana, 4,000 Beat Stick. Good for evolutions. Good for killing things. No questions asked here. 3 Essence Elf. This is one of the core early game cards. You don't want to play it alone, but boy does it help playing it on 2 when you have a Blaze Belcher on the board, and this enables a lot of wacky shenanigans that I'll go over later. But yeah, having this buff is super important. Next, 3 Ember Adept. This is cycle to pitch the cards that are useless in one matchup and help in another, as well as being a protector, which comes in relevant with 2 Armored Sentinel. For those who don't know what this does, it's a protector, which means it's like a blocker, but only if your opponent attacks creatures. And each of your other creatures that have protector get plus 2,000. You're going to see immediately this deck is all about buffing your other cards and making them either near 6,000 or over 6,000, but at the very least overstated for their mana cost. So, Sentinel does just that, and it really helps with the buffing. Next, 2 Defiant Shaman. Protector, and when it dies, it goes to mana. Makes your opponent think a little bit harder about killing my things. Next, 3 Tricky Turnip. Hexproof Evolution Bait. Very good. Probably one of the most staple cards in the game. Finally, 3 Krakus the Dominator. I have more Krakuses. They're just in different decks, and I don't want to pull them out right now. I could really show you if someone gets angry, but yeah. Krakus is extremely important against the blocker-heavy control decks, and it's extremely important against shield regen. So, he puts in an incredible amount of work. While he's kind of slow on the board, he really, really puts in a lot of work, and boy did he put in a lot of work in my control matchup against Sean. Next, 4 drops. Let me make sure that we have enough room. I think we should. 4 drops. We have 3. 3 Thunderaxe Shaman. This is the backbone of the deck. He's got 2 abilities. I'm not going to read the names of the abilities because it's dumb and no one cares. First, whenever one of your creatures wins a battle, all your dudes get powerful attack plus 2,000. That's super important. Second, in a separate ability, it's important that you know that these are 2 separate abilities, so one can happen without the other. All of your creatures that have 6,000 or more power have Double Breaker. So if they're buffed, let's say a 5,000 into a 6,000 with an Essence Elf, or if a 4,000 into a 6,000 with the Armored Sentinel, then they suddenly become more powerful. Next, 2 Riot Sprite. This is a Vortex card, so a lot of people may not know it. It's a protector, so it gets buffed off of Sentinel, but it has the ability Empower. When it enters the battle zone, one of your other creatures gets plus 3,000 power until the end of the turn. So, that helps you attack over things. I'm not going to lie, it's really not as good in the 4-drop spot as I wanted it to be, and this deck struggles with having a lot of multi-civs. I have 3, 6, 8, 10, it looks like, if I'm remembering right. I have 12 total, and that's a little bit too much for a 40-card deck, so the Riot Sprites might need to become something else or just get cut entirely. But then again, I'm also missing 4-drop spots, so I'll go over that in a second. But yeah, Riot Sprite does a lot of work getting over a big blocker and continuing your attack. Next, 2 Overcharge. This should be 3. I should have made this 3. I was kind of sleeping at how important this was in the aggro or mid-range matchups. Or even in the rush matchup. If I played against Mono Fire, if I can get to overcharge turns, then this card wins. Gives me 1,000 power, so it's synergy with Thunderaxe. and it basically acts as a board clear because all of my dudes should be overstated for their mana cost anyway, so I should be just attacking with 6,000 power dude, 6,000 power dude, killing things. Next, Tequila Flame. This card didn't do it very much for me. This probably could have been another overcharge. It should have done a lot more. It's more for the aggro matchup if I'm top decking, but honestly, just investing 4 mana over and over and over again while I'm still trying to ramp is not as good. I would prefer it as a top end to rush. Alright, next, 5 drops. Ritual of Challenge. This is another Vortex card, so some people might not know what it does. Think of the Fire Nature spell Fight, but on steroids. It's 1 mana higher, but it's single civ, and it gives your creature plus 3,000 power before the battle begins. So, this basically says, pick your opponent's dude, pick my dude, and then they fight it out, and then I get a free kill without expending that creature's attack for the turn. If I play it on my turn, if it comes off of a shield, then I can stop some aggression or kill a dude, and just make my guy more powerful. It's important to note that when they battle, they do not tap. A battle is not an attack. They're different things. But in order to win a battle, a Thunderaxe Shaman's ability requires you to win a battle. Sorry, that glare is immense. Oh my god. That's a little bit better. Sorry about that. But yeah, Thunderaxe requires you to win a battle. Ritual Challenge designates a battle. You get 3,000 power. So that's wonderful. Technically, you could get an Essence Elf to a double breaker with Thunderaxe and Ritual Challenge combined. So that's really cool. Next, 3 Broodmama. Broodmama's super good. It's reload. It's obviously Protector, so you can get more Armored Sentinel buffs. And it really is the draw that any deck with Fire and Nature absolutely needs. We just do not have enough draw. That's a big weakness of the deck. If your opponent can run you out of resources with a lot of discard, playing the top deck game is so hard because you have to decide, is it mana time or is it aggression time? And if you ever really lose the board with this deck, it's really hard to come back onto the board. So, there's that. I'm going to put this with the Shield Blasts. Well, I guess I'll put it here. 2 Warchief Kyo. These are my first of my 6 drops. Another defensive guy, another fight, another battle. It's very good. This one's also evolution bait. It's really good to get off shields. Some people may ask why I'm not playing like Sumo Artichoke. That was in a testing version of the deck, but it's not as good. Sumo Artichoke, I'm going to move these guys up so that we have enough room for everything. And there are cards falling off the table, and I'm having a good time. But yeah, Sumo Artichoke doesn't necessitate a battle. It just taps itself and makes your opponent have to battle it if they decide to attack. So that's a stalling technique, but it doesn't kill anything. And if I'm behind on board in this deck with no draw, I'm losing anyway. So I would rather have just a kill and continue to be aggressive onto the board, as opposed to Sumo Artichoke. Also, Sumo Artichoke is just always a dead draw, because I'll never ramp to 8. I'll never just play 8 mana in this deck. 6 is already hard enough to get to. So yeah, that's why. Ritual Challenge is just so much better than Sumo Artichoke in this deck. Move everything up a little bit so we have enough room here. Sorry, I just jostled the camera again. You guys should see the jank setup I have for this camera. I have 2 of those little plastic arms for, I'll show you guys at the end of the video. 2 of those little plastic arms for, like, clamping an iPhone to a desk or something. And they're just kind of suspended over this table, and it's a janky mess. Maybe I'll post a photo on in the Discord or on the Facebook or something. But yeah, 2 Warchief Kyo. Next, one of my favorite aggressive cards in the game, 3 War Master Tatsurian. This is by far one of the best top-end cards in the game for an aggro deck. For those who don't know what it does or can't see because it's a little bit off frame, I just realized, it is a 6 mana, 9,000 fire evolution creature. Double breaker, and its unleash ability is untap this creature. It means you can attack with it again, because it's not tapped. That's pretty dang good. Yeah, having a 9,000 dude swing in twice at the end of an aggro game is pretty dang nutty. So, and to my knowledge, nowhere on the card does it have to designate this creature may attack again in order for it to be able to attack again. As long as it's untapped, it can attack. That's how the game works. So, yeah, there's that. I'm going to put that right over here because that's another important card. And finally, my last top-end finisher is just to show off the power of this guy, Arachnomech. 6 mana, 11,000 Vortex Evolution creature, Double Breaker. When this creature enters the battle zone, you take a non-evolution creature that's level 5 or less from your mana zone and put it in the battle zone. That creature gets fast attack. So, basically, Vortex Evolution is inherently a downside because it's like a 2 tribute in Yu-Gi-Oh! You have to evolve onto 2 creatures, not just 1. But this mitigates that severely by bringing out a guy with fast attack. So you could evolve onto some weenies and then bring out something even stronger. And then you could even use something to come into play ability. So I could grab a Broodmother that's in mana off of Arachnomech. Broodmother's come into play ability goes, I draw 2 cards. Let's say I have a Thunderaxe Shaman on the board. Broodmother's a double breaker. Arachnomech's a double breaker. And I'm just going in, right? Arachnomech's only at 2 because I didn't want too many 6-drops. I already have a lot. I have 7. The top end of this deck is already kind of weird. I need to play with the mana ratios. It's not perfect. But also, Vortex Evolutions just require a lot more in terms of input for them to be good. War Master I can slap onto kind of everything. Arachnomech takes a tiny bit more setup. Additionally, like I said before, there are 12 multi-civs total, 2 Arachnomech, 3 Thunderaxe, 2 Riot Sprite, 2 Sentinel, and 3 Razorcat. So sometimes you get kind of unlucky with mana, and that's just how it goes. I think if I were to cut anything, 2 Riot Sprites should go. Heal of Flame should become an overcharge. Defiant Shaman might be too cute. It depends. That might put a little bit too much ratio on the top side. I might cut 1 Kyo for another Ritual of Challenge. It's hard to say because that ritual buff is so nice. Other than that, though, I'm really happy with this deck. I'm really happy how this kind of gimmick turned out. It started out with me just seeing Armored Sentinel and Thunderaxe Shaman come up in a list next to each other, and I go, now that's an idea, and kind of building a deck around it. I really like just dumb synergies. I really like how that works, and I really like Overcharge as a control tool. You may notice no Blaze Helix. Krakus the Dominator should be enough for most blockers, at least early to mid game. If we don't see blockers, then great. If we don't see Krakus until early to mid game, then we're probably dead anyway. And if I'm waiting till 6 to hardcast something to kill a bunch of blockers, or I'm holding a 6-cost spell in hand, chances are they've already run me out of resources, or I'm just so far behind on tempo that it doesn't matter. So that's why no Blaze Helix. I really just don't think it's that good in this deck. I think it's definitely an incredible card, but not in this deck. What else? Ember Adept didn't do that much for me. If I really wanted to run draw, I might run like a Blast Forge Sweeper or something, but it's just such negative tempo. I have to discard a card and then I draw 2, so I'm kind of only netting neutral or -1 that turn instead of -2. Well, it's hard to think about it that way, but yeah, it's not exactly what I want to be doing. It's kind of slow. I'd rather play Blast Forge Sweeper in like a control deck. The Blaze Vultures did incredibly. I'm definitely keeping them. The Essence Elves are really good. The Razorcat's a god in this deck. I could do pretty much anything in the Razorcat's 7,000 or 6,000 power double breaker for 2 mana. Some would argue that I could go Steam Tank Cryon in this deck. I'm not against trying it out, but I think it's kind of, believe it or not, kind of slow. I think that I have to be playing a bunch of things after the Cryon, and by the time the Cryon comes down on turn 5, I should be finishing the game. So it just comes in too late. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys like the idea. Tell me how it goes. Shouts out to me, myself, and I. Wow, usually I have a shout out here. Shout outs to Daniel Lee, who I played against with his Corrupted deck. That was a pretty sweet deck. I really like that. Shout out to Sean, and shout out to Adelion. I'm forgetting your real name right now. Just for participating in the tournament. It was fun, guys. I hope we can do another tournament soon. With that said, this is Stents of the Rangers Dojo, also known as Alpha 5, signing off. Peace.